Good evening. I am Dr. Lisa Isaac, President of Gateway Medical Society, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the sixth installment of our 2021 Community Symposium Series. Greetings and welcome to all newcomers and repeat participants alike. We're so pleased that you have decided to join us this evening. Gateway Medical Society, established in Pittsburgh in 1963, is a component of the National Medical Association. Our mission is to eradicate healthcare disparities. We conduct our mission in several ways, including, but not limited to, providing education to promote public health, raising awareness of the healthcare disparities in minority and disadvantaged communities, and collaborating with other groups who have similar missions. I am pleased to announce that once again, we are collaborating with Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Alpha Omega Chapter, for this evening's program. One of the program targets for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority deals with the needs and concerns of caregivers. In fact, today, November 19th, is Alpha Kappa Alpha's Caregivers Impact Day around the world. Last week, we had part one of the caregivers topics, elder law. It was a very educational program dealing with subjects such as wills and estates, powers of attorney, etc. Today, we have part two on caregivers, which has a little different flavor. The subject is Caregivers Impact Day, Caregivers and Beyond, and it will deal with a variety of important topics related to self-care and pampering. Topics that are a bit lighter, but no less important to busy caregivers. Caregivers often find themselves so busy with giving care that they seldom find time to take care of themselves. Tonight, we have a dynamic moderator and three exciting presenters. We'll hear about topics such as the sandwich generation, physical and emotional impacts of caregiving, and a variety of strategies for self-care. Presenters will discuss relaxation, herbal teas and herbs and cooking, useful houseplants, essential oils, and much more. It's a full program, but we have allotted time at the end for answering questions. And a special surprise, if you stay till the end, your email will be included in a drawing to give away special gift bags for up to 50 lucky participants. Overall, we are sure that your time today will be educational and well spent. Thank you again for joining us. Now, I must take a moment to thank our symposium partners, including the Heinz Endowments, UPMC, Highmark, Gateway Health, Pittsburgh Black Nurses in Action, the Links Incorporated, my sisters at Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Alpha Omega Chapter, the Ivy Charitable Endowment Incorporated, and anyone that has helped us with any part of our symposium series. Thanks to all for making it possible. And finally, allow me to introduce our moderator, Ms. Amira Hunt. Amira Hunt is a native of Pittsburgh, PA, and is the co-owner of Hunt and Stanton Solutions, providing group counseling and wellness coaching to women who are driven by a strong personal desire to live out their true purpose, but feel stuck in the process. She provides women with an opportunity to develop appropriate strategies and action steps to promote self-awareness and change. Additionally, Amira is a mental health counselor with Mount Ararat Baptist Church Counseling Center, providing individual and group counseling to children, adolescents, and young adults on their journey towards self-awareness. Amira plans to open her own counseling practice in the future. She also serves as Mount Ararat Baptist Church's youth director, helping youth develop a biblical and spiritual foundation to live a God-driven life. Amira received her Bachelor of Arts in English and a certificate in nonprofit human service management from Kent State University in Kent, Ohio. She continued her educational journey at Carlow University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, obtaining her Master of Science in Professional Counseling and completed certification in professional school counseling. Ms. Hunt has over 13 years of experience in the education and counseling field. She has worked for the Pittsburgh Promise as a scholarship manager, supporting students on their path toward college and career readiness, served as a program manager in the educational department for Women and Girls Foundation, empowering high school age females in areas of civic engagement and social justice, and has several years' experience as a professional school counselor working for the Pittsburgh Public School District and currently for Prince George's County Public Schools, helping students develop their social and emotional toolbox that will lead to academic and career success. Amir is a member of several counseling organizations and is an active member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Alpha Omega Chapter. She is motivated, dedicated, and will certainly brighten your day with her smile. I'm pleased to turn the program over to the capable hands of our moderator, Ms. Amira Hunt.
Thank you for that warm introduction. Thank you so much. I am so excited about our panel today and talking about wellness for our caregivers. Over the last year with the pandemic, a lot of us have become caregivers, and caregivers is becoming more of a non-traditional, just meaning it's not always mother, father caring for a child. Sometimes it is a grandparent, sometimes it's the uncle, the aunt, the young adult, sometimes the child. And so today we are really going to focus on wellness for the caregivers and excited about the panelists that we have. So I'm not going to hold you much longer. I do just want to remind everyone that there is a raffle at the end, so please stay on. We will also be taking questions at the end, so please put all the questions you have in the chat, and at the very end of everyone's presentation, we will make sure to get to your question. So I'm not going to hold us up any further. We're going to dive right on in, and we're going to start with Dr. Tanya Tinsley. Dr. Tinsley is the owner of Transition Counseling Services, LLC, and life skills programs that include a ministry division, Love and Basketball Ministries, where she provides individual, marriage, family, and group counseling and consultative services. She is both a licensed professional counselor and a national certified counselor. Additionally, Dr. Tinsley, the clinical director of the Mount Eric Baptist Church Counseling Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She has a wealth of experience providing appropriate professional and academic growth opportunities for those seeking to become professional master level counselors, as well as for those helping professionals seeking advanced and specialty areas of training and development in multicultural and social justice areas, spiritual and Christian interventions, along with sports counseling and athletic development. Her favorite scripture is Malachi 6:8. He has told you, O mortals, what is good and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. I am excited to hear what she has to say. So I am just going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Tinsley. Get your paper and pencil and your notes and get ready to hear some gems.
Thank you so much, Amir, for that introduction. And thank you to Gateway Medical Society and the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority for inviting me to be here tonight. I'm always looking forward to talking about health and wellness for individuals and groups and families across the lifespan. So today, to focus on caregivers is something that I'm very passionate about. And I am going to share my screen. I have just a few slides for my PowerPoint, a quick video. So let me share my slides. So one of the things that I have found as a professional counselor is that many people are caretaking. And right now we are in a mental health pandemic. And even prior to the pandemic, we were still dealing with mental health issues, mental illness. But I think that the pandemic has shined a high beam light on just the impacts of caring for people, the financial impacts of caring for people, the emotional impacts for caring for people. And also this whole idea of caregivers, we hear this name, but it's really important to understand Who are caregivers? So let me give you a quote that's by Rosalind Carter. I really like this quote. She said, there are only 4 kinds of people in this world: those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, and those who will be caregivers, and finally, those who will need caregivers. Caregiving is universal. And with that being said, there's 4 things that I really want to do today, because especially in my practice, when I'm working with individuals, when I'm hearing what's going on in their lives, I'll say, oh, so you're serving in a caretaking role. And it could be somebody who is an older adult, somebody who's in middle adulthood, or somebody who's a younger adult. And so I think it's really important to understand the context of caregiving and to understand the definition of a caregiver. Then we need to really understand my focus is on mental health and it's on wellness. And so there's many aspects of caregiving we could talk about, the legal aspects, the medical aspects, but I'm really going to focus on wellness and mental health, and then talk about self-care strategies. I really want to help you understand what are some self-care strategies to put into your toolbox. As with the context of caregiving, I was reading the American Association of Retired People's website, and they had said that about 48 million Americans provide care without pay to an adult family member or friend, and they do so for an average of nearly 24 hours per week. Another study in this past June found that 78% of family caregivers regularly incur out-of-pocket costs caring for a loved one, with the average annual expenditure topping $7,200. And again, this statistic was just from this past June 2021. And we know during this pandemic, people's work lives change, their career lives change. And so now we're talking about this financial stress. That unpaid and often expensive commitment can make it hard for caregivers to make ends meet. 28% say they have stopped saving money, and 23% have taken on more debt that this AARP study has found. And so growing awareness of the financial burden has fueled a national conversation around issues like paid leave and even outright payment for family caregivers. Your chances of getting paid to be a family caregiver are best if you're caring for somebody from the military or someone eligible for Medicaid, but other possibilities could exist. So the question is, are you a caregiver? The Johns Hopkins Medicine has defined a caregiver. A family caregiver can be someone caring for a spouse or a parent, an extended family member, or even a friend or neighbor. In another study by Schultz and Sherwood, they define caregiving that's provided by a family member or friend rather than by a professional who is reimbursed for services. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you answer yes or no. So the first one is, do you provide someone help with transportation to medical appointments? And you can just keep track of this of yourself. Do you provide someone help with purchasing or organizing medications? Do you provide help with monitoring their medical condition? Do you provide someone help with communicating with healthcare professionals? Do you provide someone help with advocating on their behalf with providers or agencies? Do you provide help with getting dressed, bathing or showering, grocery or other shopping, housework, preparing meals, or managing finances, just to name a few? If you answered yes to any of the examples listed, you are a caregiver. Video about caregiving.
A caregiver is a person who is in direct partnership with their loved one. And it could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be someone who's a congregant in a church. It's someone that you know well enough that they've called on you to help them with their health care. And a caregiver can give a ride to a doctor's office, a caregiver can do errands, a caregiver can grocery shop, a caregiver can read to the person. So the caregiving role is so broad. And part of the call to care effort is to really help caregivers see that all these broad things that we do, we sort of take for granted that we do for people, are really part of that caregiving role.
A caregiver actually is a part of the healthcare team. And I don't know if we recognize that as much as we should, but I would love for the caregivers to understand that we value them in terms of the understanding that they have about their loved one, namely because they are there 24/7, 365 days a year. And oftentimes we have a snapshot in the provision of care for their loved ones. They're there for the long haul. They're there for that journey. And when they give us that information, we really value that, and we value what they do.
Caregivers are often an example of altruism. They're so devoted to the person for whom they're caring that they don't think of themselves as central to the care process. And so I encourage them to realize that they should look after themselves, if not for themselves, but because if they're not looking after themselves, they're not being a good caregiver for the person they're looking after. It's no good if something happens to them, whether or not they care about themselves. So I encourage people to make sure that they do some very, very basic things. First of all, make sure that they're on top of their own health, that they keep their doctor's appointments, that they take their medicines. Secondly, that they notice their own psychological state and that they reveal it either to friends or professionals. Occasionally, caregivers need advice about whether they need professional help for their psychological state. Then there are some very practical things that caregivers need to consider. One is to learn how to be caregivers. We typically have different roles, different relationships with the people for whom we are caring. And so it doesn't come natural to go from wife to being caregiver. Learning to be a caregiver is a process. So I encourage caregivers to see it that way, that they have a role change and that they need to evolve from whatever their role was to becoming a caregiver.
So now that we've learned about caregiving and the impacts of caregiving in that brief video, I really like what John Hopkins said, that the importance of a caregiver it is to think of healthcare as a three-legged stool. The first leg are family caregivers. They serve as one leg of the stool. Professional caregivers, the doctors, the nurses, those support people in these adjunct services act as another. And then the care recipient themselves is the third leg. Without all three legs, healthcare cannot be as effective as it needs to be. So we have to look at this chair. In order for it to function, all three legs need to be the same length so that there can be some stability. There needs to be some collaboration of care. I don't know if anybody's ever gone to a restaurant and sitting in a chair and it wobbles because one leg is shorter than the other and you have to add something. My concern is for the family caregivers and those caregivers. Is your leg shorter and causing wobbling? And if so, then it's really important to focus on taking care of yourself as a caregiver. Now, what happens to cause that leg to shorten or to cause the wobbling of the stool? There are some effects of caregiving. There's sleep deprivation, poor eating habits and quality of diet, failure to exercise, grief and mourning. And that happens throughout the whole process, because when you are just thrust into being a caregiver, there's this grief of one aspect of your identity and who you are, and now this aspect of caretaking. So while you are caretaking, you are trying to redefine who you are as a caretaker. And there's some grief process, shock and denial. What, am I taking care of my parents and my kids? What, am I taking care of my friend? There can be anger, depression, bargaining. When a caretaker gets sick, effective caregiver is failure to stay in bed when ill, or chronic stress or illness, postponement of or failure to make your own medical appointments, increased risk for depression and anxiety, and increased risk for substance use and abuse. Now, on one hand, caring for your family member or your friend or who it may be demonstrates love and commitment and can be very rewarding personal experience. On the other hand, exhaustion, worry, inadequate resources, continuous care demands are enormously stressful. Caregivers are more likely to have chronic illness than non-caregivers, namely high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and a tendency to be overweight. Studies show that an estimated 46 to 59% of caregivers are clinically depressed. So if we have a room full of 100 caregivers, 46 to 59%, almost half or a little over half, are dealing with some sort of depression or anxiety. Now, those statistics come from Family Caregiving Alliance. There's another study that's conducted by Schultz and Sherwood, and they found in their study that there is impact on both physical and mental health as well. They found from the study of their participants, depression, anxiety, stress, subjective well-being and self-efficacy, positive aspects of caregiving, and I said self-efficacy. What they found is that the stressors lead to psychological stress and impaired health behaviors, which stimulate physiological responses, resulting in illness and mortality. So if you're not able to take care of yourself and something happens to you, how are you going to caretake for those people that you are in your care? And then there's also some impacts that can affect a person's health in terms of their own prior health status, their own level of social support. So who's supporting you? We are designed to be in relationships, so you cannot be a caretaker on an island alone. And then there's also some other factors that impact. So if you have other demands, caring for a child, your own job, and the care recipients, what the type of care that they may need. So they have found that those who have Alzheimer's disease or dementia is more challenging for caring for that person than with physical disabilities alone. Now, I want to go back to the positive aspects. The report from this study shows that caregiving makes people feel good about themselves, and as if they need it, gives meaning to their lives, enables them to learn new skills, and strengthens their relationships with others. There are some researchers that have found that individuals in social relationships, even caretaking, are happier and healthier and live longer than those who are socially isolated. And there's a book I'm going to give as a resource, but Dr. Cheryl Woodson pointed out in this book, for many of us, caregiving is not just about giving good care. Some caregivers believe their primary value as a person is in being a helper and fixer. When caregiving is necessary to our sense of worth, however, there can be an unconscious conflict of interest between healing the senior or the care recipient and protecting self. This may blind us to the care recipient's real needs and actually make us less effective as a caregiver. So everything that I'm saying is really focused on wellness and mental health. Caregivers need to focus on these different domains of wellness as well as their mental health, because if there's any stressors in these domains of wellness, it has the potential to impact your mental health. And I've said this in other presentations, but the National Institute of Mental Health has said that only 17% of US adults are considered to be in an optimal state of mental health. So again, another rationale for the importance of caregivers taking care of themselves. So taking care of you, you can't pour from an empty cup. So take care of yourself first. So the analogy I like to use, if you've ever been on an airplane, the flight attendants, before you take off, they talk about in case of emergency, the oxygen mask will fall. Put the mask on yourself first, then put it on the children and the other people around you. Make sure you're putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. So how do you do that? First of all, you have to identify your own personal barriers, reframe your thinking. You can't always believe what you think, and change your self-talk. Do you ever find yourself saying, I'm being selfish if I put my needs first? There's a fear about me taking care of myself. I get frightened when I think of my own needs. Do you have trouble asking for what you need? Do you feel inadequate if you ask for help? Do you feel that you have to prove that you are worthy of the care recipient's affection? Do you do too much as a result? So then you are overcompensating and giving so much of yourself from that cup. And part of it is reframing how you're thinking and removing those personal barriers. Here's some other misconceptions. I am the only one responsible for their health. I don't have anybody helping me. If I don't do it, no one will. If I do it right, I'll get the love and attention and respect that I deserve. Our family takes care of their own. We don't go for outside help. I promised my mother, my father, my sibling, a family member that I would always take care of them and my family members. Again, that self-talk, you got to change the messages in your head. So reframe your thinking and focus on positive things that you can do and that you can remember. We're designed to be in relationship and you cannot do it alone. So when we talk about managing stress, you can start feeling stress in your body. It starts manifesting in your body, having headaches, body aches. You might have GI systems, stomach aches, you know. And so sometimes you have to pay attention to what's happening in your body, because sometimes there may not be a medical diagnosis and your PCP, primary care physician, may ask you what's going on emotionally. So you have to recognize warning signs early. You could be irritable, you could have sleep problems, lack of concentration, forgetfulness. And then identify the source of the stress. Where is the stress coming from? And then identify what you can and cannot change. Remember, we can only change ourselves. We cannot change another person. You can give the information, but it's up to that person what they're going to do with it. So ask yourself, what do I have some control over? What can I change? And then take action. I would also say you need to set SMART goals, and set SMART goals that you're devoting time to those domains of wellness. Specific, I will exercise for 15 minutes, 3 times a week. It's specific, it's measurable because it's 15 minutes. Is it achievable? 15 minutes, yes. Is it realistic? Yes. Is it time oriented? You're saying 3 times a week. Start small and build up. Seek solutions. So when there's problems, reach out to people and ask for solutions. That means you have to have the 4 C's to healthy relationship. You have to have effective communication. You have to be able to resolve conflict. We live in a world that's full of conflict. So you have to be able to resolve conflict. Having compassion and empathy, as well as a commitment to the process. Sometimes you could get frustrated with the medical doctor. Sometimes you could get frustrated with the care recipient. And that's where that compassion and commitment comes in. But know when you have a conflict, just communicate so that you can resolve and reduce the problems and the stress. And asking for and accepting help, because there's people that will offer, oh, no, I got it. Stop saying, no, you got it, and say, sure, If somebody's offering, they're willing to help you. And then think about the three-legged stool and engage in collaboration of care. So as you're learning the process and as you're in the process of caretaking, you got to take care of yourself. You got to communicate with the professionals as well as communicate with the care recipient. So there are some different resources. The Allegheny County Family Caregiving Resource Guide, I will put the link in the chat box. Phenomenal guide. It is giving you lots of resources and links to some of these organizations I have on the website, but also some other resources and organizations for assistance. ARP, American Association of Retired People, they have a specific website on family caregiving basics, Family Caregiving Alliance, Aging Life Care Association. So you see those different organizations, and it is in the guide that I'll put in the chat box. And as we come to an end, I'd like to recommend 2 books. I got both of the books. They are phenomenal. Dr. Cheryl Woodson, who's a medical doctor, she talked about how to survive caregiving, a daughter's experience, a doctor's advice. She's both a daughter who was a caregiver as well as a doctor. So she's put both of those experiences in us to survive caregiving. And then the doctor is in answering your questions about how to survive caregiving. So as I end, I'll just give you a quote from Dr. Woodson. She stated that caregivers survive. I know you are overwhelmed. Even so, please don't think that caregiving is impossible. It can't be. Too many people are doing it. Caregiving is tough, and so are you. You can do it, and you don't have to destroy yourself in the process. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tinsley. That was really good information. Even the analogy with the, the airplane, the oxygen, that is so true. A lot of times we want to, I'm okay, I can do it. We go ahead and help that other person. But you have to make sure you are here, you are healthy, and you're whole in order to take care of someone else. So thank you for that. And those resources are good. Please look out for those resources in the chat. We'll also put those book information as well if anyone's looking to go ahead and get those books. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, make sure you put in the chat. We'll be answering all questions at the end. We're going to move it forward, and we are going to now move to Bee Leaf Tea with Dr. Reverend April. So April has held a number of titles over the years, one being the title of clergy. She has brought healing and support through God's word and example for over 10 years. Her passion to nurture recently expanded through her love of herbal tea. The pandemic has been a positive outcome where she was able to study medicine and confirming abilities of herbal tea, thus launching Bee Leaf Tea. Tea was introduced to her at a young age through her grandmother and her great aunt. She remembers being given it to her to help when she is still feeling ill, or to cool off on a hot summer day, or to cozy up and relax on a cold day. Tea has been a great bonding moment with her family and friends. Later to find that herbal tea has health benefits, she takes joy in extending her biblical knowledge to now include natural healing knowledge. So I am excited to hear and see what teas I can drink to see how it can help me overall, and pretty sure so is everyone else. So without further ado, Reverend Dr. April Roebuck.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you for having me, inviting me tonight to speak about something that's near and dear to my heart. As it was already stated, I am Reverend Dr. April Roebuck, and I am the owner of Bee Leaf Tea. At Bee Leaf Tea, I focus on the health benefits that herbs can provide to us. And before we jump into my presentation for tonight, there's a disclaimer that I need to say. And this disclaimer is not something that I came up with or something that's because I'm a tea owner or what have you. Actually, if you look in your cupboard, at your favorite tea, you can see this statement on your box. And so it's something that we have to say whenever we are consuming any herbal products. So the statement is such. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. The statements that I'm about to say are not to prevent, to cure, or get rid of any type of illnesses or sicknesses. These statements that I'm about to make are simply informational purposes. Please consult with your physician before you consume any herbal products. Now that that is out of the way, we can talk about some different herbs that can help us as caregivers, because Dr. Tinsley's spoke well about, we can't pour from an empty cup. And so just a few herbs that I want to highlight tonight. I just had a question today. Someone asked me, why did I become, interested in herbal teas and herbal products? Because I was tired of going back and forth to the doctor for different issues, and they say, take this medicine, take that medicine. And I wanted more a natural approach to different things that I was feeling in my body. And herbs are natural. They are from the earth. God has already given us everything that we need to be well. And so I just wanted to explore that. And so you can also, Google. Google is our friend these days. So you can Google, natural remedies for a headache or whatever symptoms that you have. And there is, probably an herb for the different things that we feel throughout the day. And so as we're focusing on caregiving, sometimes we're stressed, it's inevitable to feel stressed, to feel pulled in all different directions. And so sometimes we just want to cozy up at the end of the day with a hot cup of tea to just settle down, and maybe having that cup of tea at the end of the day is the only peace that we may feel in a day. They spoke about, Amira spoke about a raffle. And in this raffle, there is a sample of one of the tea blends that I made. And it's one of the teas, it's called Peace Tea. And so sometimes at the end of a busy day, we just want to feel, that a moment of pause. And so some of the ingredients that are listed in that particular tea is chamomile. Chamomile is a widely known herb. Chamomile is great for promoting peace and calm, and giving us that tranquility that we need at the end of the day. Chamomile can be, we can drink it solo, but you can also include it within different herbal blends, as I did with this Peace Tea. Another herb that's within the Peace Tea is lemon balm. And so lemon balm is an herb that is good to promote restful night's sleep. And I don't know about you guys, but I can always go for a restful night's sleep. And so lemon balm can help, soothe in those types of areas. Another herb that's in this Peace Tea is mint. Mint has a number of health benefits. In this particular tea blend, this mint is used to help be a calming component to this tea. And sometimes when we are a caregiver, we're running here and there, doctor's appointments and grocery stores, and sometimes we run ourselves down. And so another herb that's in this tea is rose hips. Rose hips is in this tea because it helps to boost the immune system. Rose hips it actually has double the amount of vitamin C than oranges. And so I thought it would be a nice compliment to have, support your immune system, as well as, promoting that peace and relief from stress that we may feel in a day. I need to put it in the chat after this presentation, but also in my shop, I have a tea called Sleep Tight. And so Sleep Tight is another calming tea. And anytime you see the ingredient valerian root or valerian, it is a calming herb. And valerian actually, it promotes restful sleep as well. And so within that Sleep Tight tea, there's valerian. root that helps with that calming insomnia sometimes, you may feel with being a caregiver. And there's also lavender and mint in this tea blend, which is going to help, promote that sense of calm and peace and help, with a night's rest. And so along those lines with running here and there, sometimes we feel tired. Sometimes we feel tired as a caregiver. And I'm not a big coffee drinker. And so I love tea. I drink tea all day. And so sometimes when I feel a bit, I need a boost of energy, there is another herb called yerba mate. Yerba mate does contain caffeine, but it is a different type of caffeine. It's not the caffeine that's in coffee that's going to give you that jolt and then you get a slump, later on in the day, and then you need another cup of coffee because you get another slump. But it's going to give you like the even energy throughout your day, so you can run to the doctor's appointment or run to the store or what have you. And so there's a tea in my shop called Mango Awakening. And so within that tea, there's the yerba mate, there's mango, there's a little bit of ginseng, and it's not going to make you feel jittery. Sometimes coffee makes you feel jittery, but it'll just give you that special oomph that you need to get through your day. Some other herbs that I want to focus on is Dr. Tinsley touched on it in her presentation that, sometimes as a caregiver, we have digestive issues. And so there is a tea that I blended up called bellyache tea. And and this bellyache tea, sometimes, we get stressed and sometimes it wanes on your digestive system. Sometimes you're anxious or what have you. And so some of the ingredients in that particular tea is cardamom, fennel, ginger, mint, cinnamon, and burdock. And so that mint, as I said earlier, has different types of benefits to it. And so in this particular bellyache tea, the mint is used to help calm the digestive system. If you're having any type of cramps or discomfort, the combination of those herbs are to support your digestive health. And so another tea, sometimes with anxiety and stress, we get a headache. Sometimes it's, inevitable for a busy day or a stressful day that we may feel a headache. And so what happens when we have a headache is that our blood vessels, they tighten and the blood is not able to flow properly. And then that's what causes us to have a headache. And so some of the herbs in this particular tea, the headache tea that I blended is rosemary. Rosemary is a great herb to help circulation. And so that is included in the headache tea to help open up those blood vessels, to have the blood flow so that it can alleviate headaches that we may feel. Also that chamomile, again, because we need that peace and that calm as well in that tea. And so those are some of the herbs that I wanted to touch on with different things that may be going on with our body to feel calm, to feel energy, stomach issues, or having a headache. And so I understand that everybody does not love tea like me, and that's okay. But we all have to cook or we all eat. How about that? And so some of the herbs are interchangeable from having it in herbal tea to cooking. If we've ever had an Italian dish, we've had rosemary in there. We've had sage. Sage is a great herb for anyone experiencing hot flashes or night sweats or anything like that. Now it's a savory tasting tea, so it doesn't taste, it doesn't have the most appealing taste, but it does have health benefits. And also thyme. Sometimes we cook with thyme. It's almost Thanksgiving, and so sometimes we put the sage and the thyme in the homemade, stuffing, but they also have health benefits. Thyme is a great antibacterial, it helps fight cold and flu and things like that. Um, Another thing that I wanted to touch on really quick, I probably should have had a slide for this one, but is golden milk. As I said, Google is our friend. So if you Google golden milk, it will give you the ingredients for it. But what golden milk is, it also promotes a restful night's sleep. But in addition to a restful night's sleep, it also helps with inflammation. It helps with stomach ailments. Um, and just providing that, a warm cup of milk is the main ingredient. So it's not a tea, it's a hot beverage. And so having it before bed can help you, get a better night's sleep. And so some of the ingredients in here is 1 cup of milk, a teaspoon of coconut oil, 1 teaspoon turmeric, half teaspoon cinnamon, a fourth teaspoon ginger, an eighth teaspoon of peppercorn. Peppercorn sounds crazy, but peppercorn is actually going to help your body absorb those herbs faster, especially the turmeric and the ginger. And so moving from the kitchen onto the home, because maybe you don't like tea, maybe you don't really cook that much, but plants. Having different plants around the home can actually help provide, help alleviate stress. And so having a lavender plant in your home is one option, and that can help. The scent of lavender helps to alleviate, feelings of stress. Also, jasmine, a jasmine plant, having a jasmine plant in your home helps to provide a source of, uh, of alleviation from stress. Rosemary and mint as well. And so, yes, pepper can be substituted. And so rosemary and mint are also great plants to have in your home. Rosemary, in addition to helping with blood circulation, it also creates a sense of alertness when you smell the scent of rosemary. And so Dr. Tinsley talked about dementia and Alzheimer's. And so, having rosemary plants around may help with some of that brain cognitive alertness as well. So those are the things that I wanted to quickly touch on tonight. As I was preparing this, I was like, I have so much to talk about. Let me hurry up. And so that is what I wanted to touch on tonight. Certainly, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I am over here writing down so much stuff you said. I too am not a coffee drinker, and I love tea and plants. So this is right up. I'm like, oh, this plant, but as more and more people are paying attention of what they're putting inside their body, I think the information you provided us is excellent. And more people are paying attention to the medicine they're taking and trying to find alternatives to what they can. And this is an awesome alternative to what, like we said, consult your doctors and things along those lines. However, I'm interested in it as well. So thank you for sharing that information. Again, if you have questions regarding what you heard from Dr. Tinsley or from Reverend Dr. April Roebuck, please make sure you put those in the chat. We'll be answering all questions at the very end of the very end of the presentation. So we have our last panelist, and I'm excited for you guys to hear. So we heard about how to deal with your mental health and wellness. What's the T's and some of the things you can use, when it's talking about caring for yourself. So now we're going to hear from Tametta Gray, who was born in Baltimore, Maryland, currently resides in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. However, in 2014, Tametta Gray became a wellness advocate for doTERRA. doTERRA was founded in 2008 and was built on the mission of sharing the highest quality essential oils with the world. Having seen for themselves the incredible benefits that can be had from using these precious resources, a group of healthcare workers and business professionals set out to make this their reality. They formed a company and named it doTERRA, which is Latin for gift of the earth. So I am excited to hear all about doTERRA. I got my pencil and paper, and I'm ready to hear about the oils that can give us benefits and how healthcare givers can really utilize them. Tametta?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Amira. And I am just so enjoying this panel that is here with me. And I thank you for this opportunity. And so I say good evening. And as Amira stated, I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Alpha Omega chapter. I am the wife of Reverend McMahon Gray, pastor of Second Baptist Church of Penn Hills, and I am a wellness advocate for doTERRA essential oils. So what are essential oils? I'm listening to Dr. Robach because a lot of what she talked about has a lot to do with essential oils. doTERRA states it this way: essential oils are the essence of a plant, treasures from the earth, distilled and prepared for you to bring the power of nature into your home. Inside many plants are concentrated, highly potent chemical compounds. These natural compounds are essential oils. Essential oils give a plant its scent, protect it from hazardous environmental conditions, and also assist in it with pollination, among other important functions and benefits. I was introduced, as Amir stated, to doTERRA essential oils back in 2014 by a sorority sister at a hair salon. I was talking about my favorite scented candle fragrances, which I burned all the time. She asked me if I had heard of diffusing essential oils instead of burning candles. I responded, no. She said, instead of inhaling unforeseen toxins in your body, consider inhaling something healthy and healing to the body. She put a sample of lemon oil into the palms of my hand, and I rubbed them together and inhaled. It was refreshing. Right now, I am diffusing wild orange. I wish there was a way for you to smell the aroma. I believe doTERRA, the corporate office, says it best. Allow me a few minutes to share their video on the why doTERRA oils versus other essential oils that we see on the market. Sorry.
Essential oils are both exciting and promising when it comes to taking care of your own and your family's health. Whether you're applying essential oils topically, enjoying the aromatic benefits through diffusion, or taking essential oils internally, the positive healthful effects of essential oils are boundless. That's why you'll want to ensure that essential oils you are using are capable of delivering on their promise. You want to make sure that you are choosing essential oils for their potency and their purity. A lot goes into making sure that essential oils are both potent and pure. Potency starts with the plant itself. The same species of plant, when grown in different environments, will vary in composition. When plants are grown in optimal soil, temperature, and climate, they produce a higher quality essential oil, just as nature intended. But that's only half of the equation. Purity plays a major role as well. Many essential oils available to purchase are not certified pure. Often they contain synthetic fillers or other elements that dilute and alter the purity. This diminishes the healthful qualities of the oil. doTERRA is committed to providing the purest, most potent essential oils possible. We employ a global network of farmers who know intimately the process of growing plants for essential oils. They ensure the plant is taken care of properly and harvested at the proper stage. doTERRA has also perfectly melded modern advances in testing procedures to ensure the purity and efficacy of each essential oil. Every doTERRA essential oil is put through the highest standard of rigorous and thorough testing. This testing protocol, CPTG, Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, sets the bar for quality, purity, efficacy, and consistency. When an essential oil is deemed worthy to be sold as a doTERRA essential oil, you'll know that it has the highest quantity of active, beneficial constituents and that it is free of contaminants and adulterations. Because at doTERRA, we know the same care and attention, as well as the same commitment to only provide the very best, is not unique to us. They're the same qualities you employ when taking care of those you love the most.
Yes, my first purchase from doTERRA 7 years ago was a home medicinal kit. It contained 10 bottles of oils that I stored in my medicine cabinet. Today, it's called a Healthy Start Enrollment Kit. The kit contains a diffuser and 5 milliliter bottles of lavender, lemon, peppermint, tea tree, oregano, frankincense, deep blue, doTERRA breathe oil, doTERRA On Guard, and Digestin. The good news is that deep blue is now considered pharmaceutical, and doctors now prescribe for pain relief along with deep blue supplements. The oils are a great health benefit for my family, therapeutic. In addition to my husband being a pastor, my husband is a research scientist. He was apprehensive about using the oils. However, unbeknownst to me, he did his research and used a concoction of oregano oil and orange juice to heal his sinus infection. I won't, as Dr. Robach said, I won't and can't say that doTERRA's essential oils will heal whatever ails you. However, I will say there are millions of testimonies of how when we give the body what it requires, it will heal itself. It's not the oil, it's the body healing itself. Now, remember, as you heard in the video, all essential oils are not created equally. I am diffusing doTERRA's Wild Orange, which is a mood enhancer. Many of you who live in Pittsburgh know there are times we need a pick-me-up when the sun is restricted from us. In my home, I diffuse Wild Orange, a citrus oil that is known to provide happy feelings. I don't mind boasting that doTERRA is the #1 essential oil around. I did use a disclaimer that we're not permitted to share that doTERRA can heal, cure, and resolve a disease-stated body. However, I can give you some facts. There are millions upon millions of individuals that use ancient methods of healing that are documented in the Bible as a reference of healing. Ezekiel 47:12 in the American Standard Version states, "By the rivers on the banks, on one side and on the other, will grow all kinds of trees for food. Their leaves will not wither, and their fruit will not fail. They will bear every month because the water flows from the sanctuary, and their fruit will be for food and their leaves for healing." Please take a moment to visit my website. What I love is not only do I give free consultations, but there are free DIYs, do-it-yourself recipes. Why not get back to cleaning our homes like it was done before we could purchase it off of a store shelf? Mix distilled water, some vinegar, and a few drops of lemon oil to disinfect your kitchen counter. Spray this on your windows to make them sparkle. Let's seek out natural ways of cleaning our home to promote a toxic-free zone. And if you like what you heard, my link and email address will be in the chat, and I give free consultation. Thank you.
Thank you. You have me over here rethinking all of the candles that I have and that I'm currently burning and and rethinking, oh, let me think about these natural oils and really the benefits. Because, once you said that, I was like, oh, we are breathing these, the candles in and the fragrance in once we're burning them. And why not think about using a natural oil? So thank you for that information. We have questions in the chat I do want to get to while we are still here together. So we have one that just came in. I believe it may be for you, Dr. Tinsley. How can a caregiver deal with another person who is not taking medicine or will not eat?
Great question. And go back to the metaphor of the three-legged stool. And so now when the care recipients leg is not even with everyone else. We got to find out what we need. So we got to, one, engage in collaboration of care. You don't have to do it alone. So can you attend the doctor's appointments with the individual? Have a conversation about what's keeping the person from taking their medicine or eating. I'm also, I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I would say bring in a mental health professional, a therapist, as part of that professional team, because depending on the age of the person, we have to sit down and find out, what does this mean for them? Because for somebody who's used to being independent and now has to be dependent on someone, that's a process as well. So they could be grieving that process, resisting that process, because they don't want somebody else to have to take care of them or telling them about the medicine, but also find out meaning. What does it mean for them to not want to take the medicine? And so I just say collaboration, make sure the three legs on the stool are balanced, and bring in that collaboration of care with the mental health professionals and the health professionals.
Thank you. The next question goes to you, Reverend Doctor. So the question is, can pepper be substitute for peppercorn?
Yes, and it should be 1/8 of a teaspoon, whether it's the peppercorn or the pepper. But it's an important ingredient because, as I said, it will help your body to absorb the turmeric and the ginger in the golden milk.
A lot of questions are coming in is, where is your store located? Where's the location? People, how can we support you? They're ready.
I put the link in the chat. It's bit.ly/bleaftea. You can find these herbs at Whole Foods, at a local health food store, a local herbal shop, or apothecary.
Okay. Next one, if one is taking a blood thinner, will the amount of turmeric in gold milk cause any advice? Will it cause any problems?
It's quite possible. And so I would refer you back to your physician, depending on the medication that you're taking in that particular dosage, just to be safe, to run it by your physician to be sure that you are able to consume that herbal mixture.
Thank you. Dr. T, this is another question. When you were talking, can you just talk a little bit about, the guilt that a caregiver may, like, how do they deal with that when it's talking about caring for themselves?
Right. So and there's a fine balance, but I think guilt is normal reaction to being in this role. But that's where changing how you're thinking and reframing your thinking and relying on your support system. Many caregivers, I gave you the statistics about depression and anxiety. So consider working alongside a mental health professional just to be able to work through the guilt. Remember, I said transitioning into a caregiver can cause grief. One, as we talk about shock and denial, part of that is the guilt. Oh my gosh, I want to take care of myself. I have my own life that I want to live, but I also have to take care of this person. And so it's being able to say, I can't take care of this person if I don't take care of myself. And reminding yourself, if you don't take care of you, who will? And so you have to prioritize yourself to be able to be able to take care of the person that you are caring for. So it's just working through. I always say, when you're thinking negative, don't believe everything that you think either. And so just really reframing those thoughts.
No matter, where can we get the oils from? People who are interested in purchasing your oils, or how can they connect with you?
Thank you. I did put my link. It's my.doterra.com/GN treasures. That's one way. Then I have an email that I'm going to put in the chat because it's kind of long. But it's great. My last name, first initial, naturaltreasures.com. I'm at gmail.com.
Thank
So
you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank everyone. This has been an amazing, a lot of good information. I do make sure everyone still stays on. We still have those interested in those teas. We still have those giveaways to do. So please stay on and please help me welcome Emma Lucas Darby.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you are excited as I am. This information tonight has been excellent. And the good thing about it is you don't have to be a caregiver to benefit from what has been shared tonight. So we want you to take full advantage of everything that you heard. Be concerned about your sociological, psychological, and biological well-being. We want you to make sure that you can understand the health benefits of natural remedies, and of course, the essential oils were explained in such a way that we can see the benefit that they bring to us. So we just want to thank Dr. Tinsley, Reverend Dr. Roebuck, Ms. Gray for that useful and valued information. And Ms. Hunt, you did a fantastic job. So thank you as well. We know that our viewing audience certainly benefited from this. And please follow up with the resources that were shared, with the links that were shared, and the contact information that was shared tonight as well. So thank you to our panelists, our moderator, and we also want to thank the Gateway Medical Society for being so cooperative with us and making sure that we had this partnership and we were successful in bringing this information to you tonight. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Hunt to explain how we're going to identify individuals for the gift bags that we have.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for staying on. Again, thank you to the panelists. So the gift bags will be a drawing. And so everyone who's on the call, we will use the email that you registered with to take part of this panel tonight. We will use that email, put your name into a drawing. We will then go ahead and draw 50 names. If you are the lucky winner, we will then contact you via email to let you know you win, and then see ways we can get the bags to you. So everyone who is on the call, your name will go into the raffle for one of these amazing gift bags. So please make sure within the next 24 to 48 hours, you are looking at your emails to see if you are a lucky winner. So thank you all for joining us. And we look forward to what we can do in the future. Thank you.